Welcome back to the Intel Extreme Masters Cologne. I don't know what's going on with the football crackers, but it's all good. It's all part of the atmosphere. Those German fans, they like to have a bit of a laugh with us. We are going to take a little bit of break from the action right now. And we're going to do something that we really enjoy here at the Intel Extreme Masters. It's become something of a bit of a tradition in Season 8. We're going to get Carmack to interview a guest star. And this time is no different. A very special guest star from Blizzard. Mr. Carmack is with Kim Phan.
Thank you very much, Paul. And just before I begin my introductions, Artosis, do you know what this is? Inside joke, by the way. I'm here with Kim Phan, the Senior Esports Manager at Blizzard. Welcome.
Thank you. Hello.
Kim, to start off, how did you end up being in the role of the Senior Manager at Blizzard? Because you were in cheat and fraud or something like that before?
Yeah, I was an anti-cheat and fraud, also known as the risk systems team. I've always wanted to be in the esports team. I think that I have been a big fan of esports for a very long time, and I've always tried to get into that team. And the opportunity was never really there. And I had other responsibilities at Blizzard, like stopping cheaters and hackers. And so finally, I was able to move over, and when I did, I took it.
But it seems like when the previous big guy left and there seemed to be a bit of a break in between his departure and then you coming on, it seemed like the job, I don't want to mean it in a bad way, but the esports, the head of the esports team, if you will, was a bit of a hot potato at Blizzard.
Well, I think that there's always been someone kind of in that role, but maybe not as public-facing as before. And so, I don't know, when you say hot potato, you make me think like hot potato is like something is hot and you're trying to throw it away.
Okay. So it's either nobody wants it or nobody seems to be competent enough to deserve it.
So I would probably say the latter. I don't know that nobody wants it. There's a lot of people that want to be in the esports team, and especially to take on that esports role. I don't know that there was anybody that could either handle it or wanted to stay there, I would say, because it's a very challenging role and very demanding.
I like the bit of self-praise here.
Well, I've only been on the team for 8 months now, so the potato hasn't gotten too hot yet.
Okay. So what are the top 3 things that you are directly held accountable for? You're in charge of a whole team, but specifically, what are you accountable for at Blizzard?
The role comes with a lot of responsibilities. It's really hard to narrow it down to 3. If I had to pick 3, I would say I lead the esports team in the Irvine office, and so basically just managing the team and setting up the strategy and vision for the team. I also spend a lot of time working with partners, such as you, ESL, NASL, and so a lot of my time is taken up by partner relationships, and then also working with teams, team managers, the community. I think you guys seen more, interviews from me and tweets and postings and stuff like that. So that takes up quite a bit of time. And then working with our regional teams is the other one. So we have esports teams all over the world, and so I spend a lot of time traveling and working with them. That's why I'm here. One of the reasons why I'm here.
So what's the theme of the Kim Phan rule within the Blizzard esports team? Is it a dictatorship? Is it a constitutional monarchy? Is it complete chaos with you just taking the responsibility for it? How is it there?
I think with Blizzard overall, one of our core values is like every voice matters, and I think that it really plays true to a lot of the teams, and specifically on the esports team. So definitely not a dictatorship, even though sometimes it may seem that way. But it's totally a team thing. We are one big global team, and everybody has a voice. Maybe that might be a reason why things take some time and we don't move as fast, because we do want to hear all of the feedback, not only internally but externally too. We do take the time to hear what the community is saying and what our partners and teams are saying. And so, we have a reputation sometimes of taking our time, but that's just really our commitment to quality. Okay.
Let's talk a little bit about the challenges that you face compared to your old role. It seems to me like, not to downplay it, but it's anti-cheat and that type of thing is relatively simple compared to esports.
Oh, that's a totally different challenge. Anti-cheat and fraud, it's all about security. You want to protect the integrity of the game. You want to stop bad people from, ruining it. And so that position was definitely focused more on development, and so I didn't really have to worry too much about the external happenings, I would say. But with esports, it's not just internal. Like, you're working with the development team, you're working with the community, you're working with teams, players, our global teams, and so there's a lot of attention that is needed, I would say. And so I think that if I had to say something that was harder about it, it's just the amount of stakeholders you have involved. That's a very tech term. I mean, I hate that word, stakeholders.
Sure. You came into the team and there was not much time before the next WCS season was supposed to begin. And an environment when you don't have much time is an environment when people are prone to make mistakes. Mm-hmm. Would you have done something differently if you could go back?
Let's see, I've only been in the role for 8 months, and I would say I haven't had a lot of time to look back. I've only had time to look forward, so it's just been nonstop, a lot of work to do. I mean, we've got Hearthstone coming out, we've got Heroes on the way, and so there's just a lot of work to do and a lot of planning. I think if I had to go back and change something, I haven't even really had time to think about that. I think overall with the changes to WCS, this has been mostly positive, and so that's a good sign. And so if I think there was anything that I would change, I would probably take the feedback that people have been given that they're not happy about and try to rethink that and revisit a little bit more and see if there's anything we could have done differently there.
Okay. Speaking of the future, Hearthstone, obviously the first big test was BlizzCon. Did BlizzCon change the internal Blizzard perception of Hearthstone's future as regards to esports?
I think it did for some people. It did for me, so I can speak for on my behalf. I think we weren't really sure how Hearthstone was going to be perceived as an esport. And I think we were all overwhelmed by how many people enjoyed it. If you were actually there, the show floor was completely filled with people. And then just our viewership overall was really overwhelming. We were really excited about how many people were interested. But in terms of how it relates as an esport, yeah, we're not quite sure that Hearthstone should be portrayed the way that you think a typical esport game is. I mean, it's a card game. And I think that there's a lot more room to be creative with Hearthstone. So I don't know, like when you think of esports, you think of really competitive play. 2 players or 2 teams are facing each other, and it's extremely intense, and you're either in booths or,
yeah, Artos' face at BlizzCon.
Yeah, well, exactly. Well, he's a true pro player, so. But we're not quite sure. Like, Hearthstone is intended to be a very warm and friendly game, and so to see it kind of put into that esports tournament aspect, I'm not quite sure if that was the direction that we see it going, but really we want to see what the community is going to do and how people perceive it out there.
So specifically in terms of development, now that we've seen Hearthstone can be a success, has esports kind of backdoored its way into the development process, and where is it at in terms of the priorities?
We work very closely with the development team. We meet with them every week, actually on a daily basis, but we have a dedicated weekly meeting that we have. And I would say it's very integrated. The esports team is responsible for letting the development team, such as Hearthstone, know what is going on in the esports community, what types of tournaments people are running, what types of things that they are trying. And we kind of keep them pretty much up to date on those types of things, comments and feedback on what people like, don't like, and what they're wanting to do, especially from our partners, such as you guys, what kind of features you want to see in the game to better support esports. And from there...
Are we going to have any of those features? Like, can you talk about any specific features that we will see? Because right now, don't get me wrong, it's a relatively general answer. Mm-hmm. I could have said that.
Well, okay. Well, then you should work for Blizzard. No, there is a long list, I will tell you that. And we have a full list of features that we would love to see from esports point of view. And it's really a matter of ranking it. Like, if you look at the team now, I think I don't know what the size is, but it's small, like 15, maybe 20 people. They're trying to grow. If you look at our jobs posting site, you'll see there's a bunch of positions for Hearthstone. And so really we're trying to figure out what people want the most. And what's really high on the list right now is spectator mode. So an observer mode, I think that's pretty important.
That's key.
But in an interview, I believe recently with Eric Dodds and Ben, they've said that is not going to come out like when the game officially goes out of beta or launches. So, but it's very high on that list. So that's a feature that you will see coming out very shortly after the game is officially launched.
That's for me. That's the key news. If I want to run Hearthstone tournaments, and I do, I would love to have the spectator feature.
And then there's a whole bunch more, but I'm not going to tell you where they are all ranked. But there's quite a bit.
All right. So we spoke earlier today with Ken Chen, Hotbit from Team Liquid, and you uttered the words, "I would never give a Hotbit interview."
Yes, I did say that.
Why?
Have you seen Hotbit's interviews?
I've been interviewed by Hotbit.
Yeah, and how did you feel afterwards?
I loved it.
Oh, that must have been a good experience. I'm terrified of a Hotbit interview.
So what would it take for you to agree to a Hotbit interview?
I will not do a Hotbit interview.
Why not?
I don't know. He makes people. I don't want to be vulnerable to Hotbit.
I mean, this is guys. This is a woman that's been on DirecTV, BlizzCon after BlizzCon after BlizzCon. You've got probably the most media experience of all the people at the Blizzard team, and you're afraid of one short Asian guy?
Yes, I am. I'm afraid of him.
Okay. So.
I'm afraid of what he would do to me in an interview.
Oh, fair enough. I mean, he's nothing to be afraid of, but hey, if you want to be a chicken, be a chicken. Fine by me.
That's not going to work with me.
Okay, final question.
Okay.
Just the last one. And you have to be very, very honest here.
Oh.
Who is your hands down most favorite esports partner to work with?
Really? That's a question you're going to ask me?
Yes.
I have so many partners. I love you guys. I love ESL.
That's.
It's Valentine's Day. Can't I say all my partners? I love them all.
I said one. I asked for one, but
well, I
will
will say this: since I am spending my Valentine's Day here with ESL, then the one that I picked for today is ESL.
All right, thank you very much. So, guys, spectator mode high in the priority list for Hearthstone. This was Kim Phan from Blizzard, and right now we're going to go to something special, I believe, in the other part of the studio. So take it away, Red Eye.
Thank you very much.